Hey guys, I have a question for you. Welcome to my channel, first of all, Living a Line, Nadeja here. I wanted to ask you guys a question. What do you do when you're co-parenting and you guys didn't end on the greatest note, right? But you're still raising your children and you're doing what you can for them because you love your children and you have to both be in their lives for the next who knows how long, because 18 means nothing, guys. I don't care what people say. Today, children turning 18 does not mean that they stop asking you for money. Children turning 18 or even 20 or even 25 does not mean that they stop asking you for money. Does not mean that they stop needing your assistance as adults. Children are going to need their parents for the rest of their lives. When they get married and then when they have children, they're still going to need you. So I wish people would stop that whole until they're 18 thing, because that's just a legal barometer by which a child is now measured as an adult. But their experience level usually at 18 is not such that they can function fully in this world as an adult. So this is my question. What do you do when you're co-parenting and one of the parents wants to talk bad? Say men, the woman that you used to be with, she wants to badmouth you to your kids. What do you do with that? What do you do with that? What the heck do you do with that? And my answer is nothing. Just continue to shine great and bright as a parent, because I know people, and even sometimes myself, I have to deal with that. So it's like, what do you do when that occurs? What can you do? If you guys are in two separate households, there's really nothing that you can do to stop that parent from being the way that they are and talking bad about you to your kids. All you can do is be a great parent over time, right? Over time, you make sure that you're just loving on your kids and being the best adult and the parent that you could be. And when it comes down to it, don't worry about what that parent has said. I remember that I knew somebody who had a daughter, and their daughter's father wasn't in their life. And people used to be like, oh my gosh, you better tell her about her father so that she doesn't think you kept him away from her. And the mom was like, I'm not worried about that. And they were like, why not? Because he's going to probably tell her later on that you kept her away. And as that little girl got older and the dad was just as inactive and absent as he wanted to be, she learned on her own, because she had talked to him a couple times. She learned on her own that he wasn't a good dad. That mom didn't have to say anything about that dad, because that dad showed to his daughter that he was not worth the hill of beans. Because nobody was stopping him from being in her life. Nobody was stopping him from being in her life. Matter of fact, the mom, despite him not being able to pay child support or any support or be there at all, still encouraged the relationship with him. She never talked bad about him. When the daughter would ask, where's he at? What's he doing? She would just say, he's getting himself well. He's working on himself so he can be a better dad for you one day. She literally made excuses for the dad. But as the daughter got older, she was just like, and the mom didn't try to stop her from being that way, because the dad literally deserved worse. Honestly. Because he could have been there for her, but he chose not to be. He was an adult. He felt bad because he couldn't give money the way he was supposed to contribute towards her life. He just couldn't. He wasn't in a position to. So why not just have a relationship with your child? Just have a relationship with your child. There should never be a time where a child is struggling to know their dad when a parent is alive. Just be there for her, or be there for him. Be there for your child. You never know what they might be going through. Any of y'all ever see Antwone Fisher, the movie? Excellent movie about a guy whose mom gave him up for divorce. Whose mom gave him up for adoption. But he was in the system for a long time. And his adoptive parents, which was a woman, two lesbian women, and they just abused the mess out of him. They treated him so bad. They whooped him, beat him, kept him tied up in the basement, didn't feed him right, burned him, tortured him basically. And then when he got old enough to leave, he left. And he went into the military, and he actually, recovered eventually from that. But guys, when a parent wants to talk bad about another parent, let them. Because the child is not first of all, something's wrong with that parent mentally. to do that and try to plant that and feed that to a child who's barely understanding what's life all about. So now you're just trying to make them or poison them against their parent. Why? I don't know. Because you're bitter and angry and you hate your own life, I guess. I don't know. But ultimately, guys, if a parent wants to do that, let them. Just do your best